You know, it's been an honor and a privilege to work with Don Welch over the last 15 years. We've shot hundreds of interviews, and there's one thing that I can promise you. He has socks that are older than that. Congratulations, Don. It's really been great.
The one little piece of advice I'll give you is stay close to your pill dispenser. You'll understand what I'm talking about later on when you get away from this hustle and bustle of the working world, and that'll be the only reference you'll know for exactly what day it is. Have a good time, my friend.
Girls, Jacksonville, Texas,
Back in the day, Don in Nashville, you were on a first-name basis with so many country music stars. How many trips did you make over there?
Oh, man, I don't have any idea. We would go 3, 4, 5, I think about 5 times each year between the time that the CMAs and whatever else that came
Academy
out.
of Country Music.
Oh, man, it was awesome because 9 times out of 10, the majority of these people are just like you and I.
Yeah.
Except they put their jeans on that cost $100 where we get $10 ones. No, they're all, we've never been mistreated by any of them. Never.
It's a society that it's hard to get into when you get in with these stars. But like you said, once you get in with the stars, once you get to know them, you get on a first-name basis. They're just good old boys and good old girls like we are. Except, like you said, their jeans are a little bit more expensive than our jeans. And a lot of folks here in the area, folks that you've worked with, folks that you've done stuff with, have taken a little bit of time to go into their memory vault and think back on their experiences with Butch.
In almost every family, there's one member who is irrepressible. That person who kind of keeps things just a slightly off kilter so that nobody can relax and get into a routine. To me, Don has always been that person here at News Channel 9. He has kept us on our toes. We've never known what was coming next, but it's always been good. He's one of those people who cares deeply about everybody. He loves his family. I think he's always loved his News Channel 9 family, and he certainly cares for the viewer, and that's been evident in everything that he has done.
And Don, I want to tell you that you have been so much more to me than just a coworker. You have been a friend, and you've taught me so much. And when I first started here, you taught me not to take myself so seriously, and I really appreciate that because you taught me to do a good job, but to also have fun at what you do. And I think that's why so many people love you, is because they can see the excitement and enthusiasm that you bring to work every day. And I try to emulate that, and I thank you for it. You've been there all along my road of growing and learning here at Channel 9, and even the birth of my son. You showed up the day he was born just to say hello, and I'm really going to miss you, and I just will try to stop crying here, but I wish you the best, and I hope you have a very happy retirement. Let's do lunch really soon.
It was an honor to work with Don, to finally work with a guy that I grew up with. You know, Don's a lot older than me, and I grew up watching him on TV. So to work with him, oh man, that was something else. I think it's Don's personality that makes him unique, and I think that, like Bob Johnson and myself, our background was in radio, and you had to develop some sort of personality in radio because people couldn't see you, they could only hear you. So you develop a rapport with your audience, and I know for me and for Bob and for Don too, that was just a natural flow into television, and it was an engaging thing, and that's what made Don, I think, is his personality, his outgoing, friendly Don Welch personality. And he's a lot like Kenny Rogers. He looks like Kenny Rogers. He looks like so many different people. Have you ever seen Kenny Rogers and Don Welch in the same place at the same time? I'm just saying. But have you ever heard Don sing? He ain't Kenny Rogers. Don, take it from me. Retirement is a wonderful, wonderful thing. We should have done it much earlier. It's that much fun. Come join me on the golf course, okay? Or in the yard. I got a lot of mowing to do.
In 1987, I was in Jackson, Tennessee, finishing up 2 years there as my first television job. Don Welch, he was relieved of duties here in Chattanooga at News Channel 9, and I was called for an interview. So, got the job, and from 1987 into the early 90s, I got to know Don, and we became friends. And then, suddenly, Don's back at News Channel 9, and we become together as a team on Good Morning Chattanooga, worked for 14 years together, hand in hand, and we'll be friends for the rest of our lives.
He's an absolute risk taker. I remember once the dancers at a strip club sent us a check for $1,500 for us to buy Christmas gifts for the Forgotten Child Fund. And we got some backlash when he read the name of the donor for that check. In fact, he got a lot of backlash. We thought we were going to lose our jobs over that. And in true Don fashion, the next day he started our show with the words, "Shove it," to the people who were complaining. That's just the kind of guy he is. You get what you see with Don Welch.
Don Welch is a unique blend of Southern charm and good old boy humor and Southern hospitality, all rolled into one, a little of this and a little of that, as he says. It was a great honor knowing him as a friend and great honor working with him as a colleague at News Channel 9 for all those years, nearly 40 years now. I remember one time in the mid-'80s, he surprised me with a side roads that I wasn't expecting. It was on my birthday, and I didn't realize he was doing it on my parents saying happy birthday to me from Marietta, Georgia. He went all the way to Marietta and did a surprise piece for me that I introduced on the air and didn't know what it was until he got on the air. It was a great thrill for me and for them, too, to meet Don and to work with him. He's got a crust on the outside and a teddy bear heart on the inside. So you're turning a page and headed for the pasture land, huh? Meet me at the watering hole. We'll have a good time sometime. Happy retirement, Don.
Overlooks nothing except his mustache. It's been quite a ride, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been, pardon my French, a hell of a ride. and we have been fortunate enough. It's like a window to the world. Peter Jennings, said it's been, and I've adopted that too a long time ago because we have witnessed so much change in our area here.
Yeah. And history.
Yeah.
We've seen it all. We've been there. We've done that.
Yeah. And then, what are we going to conquer now?
In the words of Linda Ronstadt, you and I travel to the beat of a different drum. I think Don kind of classifies that different drum thing, and that's one of the things, as I mentioned in my part of the thing, of working with you is that different drum thing. We had so much in common and so many things that we liked, and yet we were so, you, Bob, and me, so different in our personalities. Yeah. That different drum thing, it's like we never knew what this guy was going to do next.
Yeah, I didn't either. But the great thing, too, is the fact that from day one, when all three of us were put in and said, okay, you're going to do this, we've never had a crossword. Never even thought about it.
Once, back in 81, I think it was. Yeah.
Well, tell me about it.
It was in March. You were a steam fitter at the time, so you wouldn't understand. We'll be back with more memories on Don Welch's retirement show and more on that steam fitting gig in a moment.
Huh?
Yeah, remember that?
Steam?
I remember as a child, my mom would call me in, hurry up, son, it's time for Grandpappy's weather forecast. I mean, I was just a little bitty thing.
And I still tell the weather by the woolly worms. Thanks to you, Don. Appreciate that. Hey, best to you, buddy.
Yeah, we love you, Don, and I hope you get rid of that rash, man.
Yeah, well, it's bad. It's bad. Don't wear sandals when you got that.
Please.